Can you guys hear me? Let me know if it's too loud. Howdy, Skull Hunter. How you doing? Hello, Carson. Flying Pig Productions. Welcome. A little loud and fuzzy. Well, I fixed the fuzzy. Let's see. Let me turn it down to see if that fixes it. Yeah, that is on 10. Is that any better? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. I guess I could show my stupid face. Let's see. Stupid face, activate. Stupid face. Let's see. Is it still fuzzy? I can't believe I had it on 10. That was crazy. It took me like 45 minutes longer than usual to set this up. Nothing worked. The chat didn't work. Nothing worked. One thing worked. The PlayStation controller works, and I wasn't planning on actually using it, so that's the one thing that worked. Sound glitchy? Let me try to reset it. Let's see. It says USB audio. That. Hang on just a sec. I'm 40. You can't do me like that. I'm way too dad for that kind of talk. You know what? I hate to say it, Carson, but I forgot to tell your dad. Oh, he's not gonna like that. I better tell him. Oh. I'm live. You working? Oh. Family friend for 15 years now. Oh, so I guess I can get rid of starting soon, and then we can talk. I have not done this in a long time, you guys. And arguably, I wasn't too great at it when I did do it. I just do it for fun. But we will manage. Best 15 years ever. So, I guess in short, I've been really incredibly sick. About 11 months ago, that's when, about the time my last video came out, I was working this job, and it was at a store, and I got a part-time job just because, I wasn't making enough money and had bills to catch up on. And this was like literally right before COVID. Like it happened not long after I started, a few weeks in. But I didn't really get sick at first. I mean, you guys remember back when it first started, it took a long time for it to get here. So I just kept working, not this year's Comic-Con at home, but the first Comic-Con at home. I was scheduled to do like a live stream with NerdSync, and I missed that because they kept me late at work, which sucks. I cut it, but it's almost there again. So it's really hard to find a haircut around here right now, or maybe I'm just not trying very hard. But I kind of like the long hair, to be honest with you, but then I sort of get like sick of having to deal with it, and then I cut it off, and then I regret it and grow it back. It's a never-ending cycle. But next thing you know, they're working me all these hours. They don't have enough people. I'm working 3 different stores, and like boom, a year is just gone, and I'm a freight manager at a store in Pikeville, and all of a sudden I get like really, really sick. Like, you see this blackness in my eyes? I don't know if it shows up on this camera, but that blackness has been with me for months. So first, like, I got to where when I breathed, I could feel my lung popping in and out, you know, and it would hurt, and after a while it would get better, but it would pop out somewhere else, you know, and it hurt both ways. It hurt when I felt it pop out, and then it hurt when it popped back in, you know. And I mean, it's hard to describe, because like in the middle at some point, you know, it got to where it just popped in and out all the time. But I mean, like, it's like it makes a final snap, and yeah, it was extremely crunchy, very crunchy, and I did not like it. So I went to the hospital because I woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't breathe, and I almost passed out. Like, stuff was starting to get dark, and if it hadn't been for having one of these around, I would have hit the ground. And it wasn't even written to me. This one is, but that one wasn't. And I went to the hospital, and they told me that I had pleurisy. Pleurisy is when the lining around your lung swells, and it causes your lung to kind of bunch up. And so what feels like your lung sort of popping in and out is literally your lung popping in and out. It hurt so bad that when I felt it move in and out, and it sort of made that crunchy snap, I thought that I'd broke a rib, you know. And that's what I told the emergency room doctor. I was like, I think I coughed so hard that I broke a rib. Well, the doctor told me I tested negative for COVID, but he said that it probably was, like, I probably did have it, because there was a time, like a week before, when 2 or 3 people around me tested positive for it, you know, and all quarantined, but I came up negative and just kept working like an idiot. So I guess the prevailing theory, and he can only theorize, well, I'm not really feeling very good now, Carson, but I'm better. But what happened was that, like, we just assumed that it was like long COVID or something. Like, I had gotten it and it had been asymptomatic, and then a cold or a flu had come along and, like, you know, kicked my ass. And then it got better. And then I had lost my job because I couldn't go to work. And so I started doing the live streams that I posted in the Discord over with Lore Reloaded, where we played, stop messing with that, where, you know, we played like a role-playing game. It's like a sort of like Dungeons and Dragons, but for Star Trek Adventures. And we got up to the last episode of that, and I got sick again. And it was the same damn thing. And because I'm stubborn, I didn't go back to the doctor. I just sort of, you know, they wrote me NSAIDs to reduce the swelling and albuterol. And no, they didn't fire me because of my medical issues, but they let me use up all my vacation time. And then they threatened to fire me for low work performance if I didn't quit. You know, like, you're going outside too much at night. You know, I mean, I'm coughing up blood. Do you want me to cough it up in the floor? And so I left. And, I mean, they were, like, finding things to screw with me about, you know? Like, oh, you let somebody fill out their application on the computer in the office. You can't do that. And I'm like, I got hired by filling out my application in that office on that computer. So I don't understand what the problem is, right? I mean, it was okay when I did it a year and a half ago. Yeah, it was horrible. But there, you know, I mean, it is what it is. Hey, Venom Geek Media, it's good to see you again. So basically, I've been sick ever since then again. You know, and the pleurisy has gone away, but before it went away, I started, because like pleurisy has like a really dry cough, dry and crunchy. Hey, Sleepy Hollow. But recently, like I'm coughing up a lot of fluid. And so I've got an appointment Monday with another doctor because I am all but sure that I have pneumonia. And so the question is, what is the underlying condition that's causing all that trouble, you know? Hey, long time no see. How you doing, brother? Or sister? So, you know, I don't know what it is. Maybe I had pneumonia all along and that was causing the pleurisy. Or maybe it's something more serious, you know? Maybe I got lung disease or, God forbid, you know, something like that. I don't even want to say the other thing. And maybe not. Who knows, you know? But all I know is at this point, I get out of breath going to the bathroom. That's why it took me an extra 45 minutes to set up this live stream. And about every 3 hours, I have to stop everything and cough up a bunch of fluid. And it's really nasty and disgusting. And I have used enough albuterol to fill a boat, you know. And if it weren't for, like, my mom and my brother having all this albuterol put up that, you know, they had left over from when they were sick or, you know, whatever, I would have already been to the hospital, I think. So I've got an appointment Monday, and we'll see what happens. You guys wish me luck, you know. I just want you guys to know that, you know, I would have been here the whole time, and that one of the great regrets of my life is that I took a break to go to work and pay bills right before I ended up having to take a break for medical reasons. And I didn't want those two things to line up because now it looks like the channel's been abandoned for freaking years, you know. And it really bothers me because I love doing this, you know. And I don't care that it brings in, you know, $20 a month, or that at its height it's only ever brought in $70 a month. I don't give a shit about that. I just love to do it, you know. And I really wish that there had been time in between those breaks where I got to put out some damn videos. No, as long as I'm drawing breath, Flying Pig Productions, as long as I am drawing breath into these lungs, you know, there will be a new video. If I'm not putting out videos, then I'm either taking a break to get some personal thing done, or I'm too sick to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I really love it. Sometimes it takes a long time. Like, I hate to say this because it's cliche, but follow me on Twitter. You know what I mean? If I'm saying dumb stuff on Twitter, then I'm fine. But let's see. Flying Pig Productions says they're quality videos. Thank you. And you can tell that you do them for fun. Yeah. My dream is to do them as a job. And I know that that'll change it. Like, if I ever get to the point where it pays the bills, like, that's going to make it into work. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? So you enjoy your time doing it for fun. And then when it becomes a job, you just do what you got to do. So we'll find ways to keep it fun. Just wish you had more exposure. Yeah, you know, my problem is that my exposure came early, right? By the time I had 2 or 3 videos up, already, was associated with Scott on Twitter, just chatting back and forth. And so, and this is what I told him, you know, I'll let you guys in on a secret that I wasn't going to tell you, is that, I went to the emergency room and, they gave me a shot of something, and, whoo boy, I was not prepared for it. Jesus. So I came home, and I'm like telling everybody that I loved them like a drunk at a bar. And I sent poor Scott Nice Wonder like a 500-word thank you. And was going to send a whole lot more if I hadn't fallen asleep. Which I tweeted about this, but nobody reads my Twitter. Nobody reads my Twitter. I feel like maybe I'm screaming into the void most of the time over there. That's not fair. That's not true. Let's see. Carson's World. Carson says, that's how I feel about starting a band. You really doing YouTube really inspired me. I'm really happy that it inspired you, because somebody had to inspire me. You know what I mean? And it wasn't just Scott, right? It was Scott and Drake and Comic Storian and Owen Likes Comics. All of these guys gave me a break early on, I had a collaboration with Drake in my first dozen videos. And the truth is that I kind of wish that all of that had come later after I was better at it, because those early videos aren't very good, But, well, I always think all of my work is bad, but clearly, the later ones are better, right? I mean, practice is everything. Denny Sherlock says, hi, man. I wish you a speedy recovery. Love your channel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And my buddy Brandon Allen, hi, Brandon, says, I read your Twitter when it actually tells me you tweeted. Yeah, Twitter be like that, man. Algorithms, back in my day, stuff used to come out in the order that people sent it. No, really though, sometimes Facebook or Twitter just decides that you don't need to hear from such and such person, doesn't it? Let's see, Flying Pig Productions says, I found you from that Comic Drake Deadpool video. I really loved doing that video. I have a whole sequel to that video written that I've been sitting on for 3 years. No kidding, I really do. That I would love to do. That actually makes a lot of sense. I never thought of it that way. Not sure what thing you're referring to, but I'm glad I'm making some sense. I've been wanting to start a channel for a while. Then you should do it. But I just don't have the time. Yeah, I had the same problem early on. And I had a problem with equipment. My first video, I had to render it on a laptop. And the first half of the video, I put it up in 2 parts just because it took so long. It took 48 hours to render. And the last part took 38 hours to render, something like that. And it killed the hard drive in the laptop. Oh, with the early exposure. Yeah. Well, I think that, especially when there came this point where Comic Storian reached out to me. And Benny's a really great guy. And he's like, hey, come do a guest video for me. And I did. And I got a big boost off of that. And then his buddy at the time was like, hey, come do one for me. Comics Explained. Rob over at Comics Explained. And that was, Panda Pool, R.I.P. Never be another one like him. And I ended up doing both of those. And then later on, I gave him this wild pitch, hey, I could just do a regular show on your channel. And he said yes, and I ended up doing a 7 or 8 episode run. Rob from Comics Explained let me do a guest video on his channel. It's still up somewhere. But yeah, I ended up doing. Now they're not up anymore. At some point, Comic Storian was going through a rebranding, and he removed all of the guest videos, which is fine. People rebrand all the time. He even let me redo them and put them back up on my channel, which was really super cool. But most of my subscribers come from that. And then after I got to be on his channel and got all those subscribers and got all those views and all that stuff, he paid me for the videos. So, I mean, I can't say enough nice things about him. Benny is awesome, you know. These guys have really, really helped me, you know. And I'm hoping, you know, after I get back on my feet, get my health back, you know, that I can come back and hit it again with another big run, and maybe work with some of these guys again and see what we can do. You know, let's make a thing of it, right? Yeah, that's where I found you. Yeah, through Benny. Yeah. Benny is a really good guy. Like, you watch his videos and you think he can't be like that in real life, right? Nobody's as nice as they are on TV, or on YouTube, you know, but he is, you know, when he's like joking around with his staff and stuff, like, that's how he is. He's just really nice and polite, as far as I could tell. He was always good to me, I'll tell you that. Which, here's the thing, and it's why I love the comic book community. I don't think I've ever been treated ill by anybody in the comic book community. Boy, did I just blur that camera. I'm going to turn that off for a minute anyway, because I'm probably about to cough up some stuff, and you guys don't want to see that. Give me just a sec here. YouTube, TV, same thing. Yeah, I mean, it does the same thing. I'm not sure that I'm ready to live in the same world the Hollywood actors do, though, I'll tell you that. Right? But that's what I love about YouTube, is that you can be well known in your circle, but still be a stranger to everybody else. You know, that's pretty cool. Not that I'm well known to anybody, but, you know, I'm well known to you guys, damn it. Let's see. Sleepy Hollow said, nope, got that one. Flying Pig says, YouTube is the new TV. Yeah, which is really funny, because YouTube keeps trying to sell me TV. And I'm like, damn it, YouTube, if I wanted to watch TV, I'd go watch TV. What the hell do I want TV for? You know? It's baffling. Who's buying YouTube TV? Who's paying for this? Hope you get back on your feet health-wise, though. Thank you. You know, I think I will. I don't think it's anything this world ending. I think that instead of going and getting a real doctor, you know, like a family doctor or a general practitioner, I showed up at the emergency room, you know, and they're just not equipped to handle that sort of thing. This is Motrin. Keeps the swelling down. And that was the problem, right? Like, you can go in and they say, hey, you got pleurisy. Here's like a prescription version of Motrin and some albuterol to keep you breathing. And, you know, go see a doctor. And then it clears up so you don't, you know. And then it comes back and you're like, oh, shit. Should have went and seen a doctor, because I'm thinking... And I'm no doctor, so I can only guess, but I'm thinking what happened was that I probably had a little walking pneumonia through the whole thing, and that's what's causing the problem. And what I need is antibiotics, right? Now, they don't give you antibiotics for just a virus or just like pleurisy, because antibiotics treat a very specific thing, right? Like a bacterial infection. But if that bacterial infection is like the underlying cause to what's troubling you, then, so, you know, maybe that'll be what happens. So I'm trying to look on the bright side here and think of the most simple things, because, you know, it doesn't do you any good to sit here and think about how Oh God, it could be this or it could be that. You know what I mean? Like, could be a lot of things. But it's probably not because I'm relatively young and everything will be fine. But I just want to make some damn videos, you know? I don't mean to talk you guys' ear off. I just miss doing this. Oh, that's the Mark says, yeah, he's working 8 to midnight, Carson. No, he's working 8 to 8. My bad. Definitely don't Google it. Oh, I did Google it, trust me. Google was not helpful. It took me straight to WebMD, and WebMD was like, what size do you want your coffin to be? So, yeah, pretty, pretty stupid to try and diagnose yourself, Learn to read, Fancy. Learning to read is a process, and I'll get there any day. I have to go into work at midnight myself. Oh, dang. Working the night shift, Brandon? Slack Pop's gotta work. Okay. I swear it says 8 to 8. It says, 8 to midnight, and then you said, 8 to 8. Oh, you just got in, and you don't get off till 8 in the morning. I see what you mean. Wow, okay. Yeah, I wish both of you luck. By all means, talk all your ears off. It's well deserved. I appreciate it. Sorry. Give me just a second, guys. Let me just mute this, sir. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Well, I have a nebulizer, and it's really loud. So I turned the mic off so you guys wouldn't have to hear that. Takes a while to cough that shit up. Sorry about that. Thanks for hanging in there. I appreciate it, guys. Let me turn this camera on and let you guys see that I'm not dead. You guys' messages are going behind this stupid controller, isn't it? Need to fix that too. Oh. Hey, there we are. I'm alive. Hello. Excuse me. I'm not seeing any messages. You guys still here? I did turn the mic back on, right? Hello? Ah, okay. Whew. You guys scared me. I was like, God, they probably think I killed over and died somewhere. Oh. Alright. Oh. I hate when that happens. Happens about every 3 hours. Be glad I didn't leave the mic on because it gets ugly. Oh. Hey, Dipper, how you doing? Glad you're still around, man. I'm always seeing your Twitter hoping for a video. Thank you. And thank you, Brandon. I know you got to work tonight, so that means a lot, man. You know, I appreciate it. I miss you guys. You know, I really do. Hey, no problem, man. You get stuff done, dude. No problem. I really do miss you guys. Anyway, what do you guys want to do? I thought maybe I might show you guys some video game emulators that I've been playing around with. Does that sound good? There is a new PlayStation emulator called Duck Station that I am rather impressed with. Bad timing, but I really need to record a song I wrote. Oh, cool. But I will be back sometime soon. No problem, Carson. You have fun. That is awesome. Sounds fun, my dude. Heck yeah. Let's see. Get a new window open here. So, like, I got into video game emulation way back in the late 90s. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of, just be careful not to get a copyright strike on the music, right? Yeah. Gets worse and worse every day, doesn't it? I'll do my best, thank you. I have faith in you, Carson. Knock 'em dead. Let's see. Oh yeah, I know what you meant, like on the emulator with the music in the games. Oh. Especially Nintendo gets really upset about that sort of thing. For real. Oh. But yeah, basically, if I do that every 2 or 3 hours and cough up whatever fluid is in my lungs, then I can get around pretty good. You know. But if I go to try to carry anything or try to, get any work done, whoo boy, it gets bad. I start breathing really fast. It's not good. But I tell you what, when I first started doing these live streams, my upload was so poor that, I don't know if you guys remember, we had to cut it back to like 2,500, the bit rate, and now I can pull 6,000 with excellent condition, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, Carson's recording a song, which is really cool. I'm proud. I am. Carson's family, basically. So it's really cool. They've doubled my internet speed twice without even like asking. You just sort of get an email like, we've doubled the speed in your tier. It's like up to 100 megabits per second, which may not sound a lot compared to like the city or whatever, but is amazing for this area. They sure make you pay for it, though. Oh, I guess I could turn the video back on since I'm done doing gross things. There we go. I guess I could turn on a light too, but I'm probably not going to. Alrighty, Duck Station, that's where we were. I don't know why I'm looking in the emulation folder. It's still in the desktop from when I was testing it. There we go. This emulator is new. I don't know how long it's been in development, but I am impressed. And I can show you a couple of things here. Let's see, game capture and specific window. There we go. See, the PlayStation background was pre-planned. Yeah. Smarter than I look. I'm really not. Alrighty. Da, 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 da. Gotta go walk the doggo. Alright. Sweet. Pet it for me. I can't remember what I was playing around with. Ah, yes. Castlevania. So, this is the normal, like, 240p resolution. The lack of input lag is impressive. Now, the thing about, like, PlayStation emulators is that generally PlayStation emulators come with plugins. And so you'll, like, pick different plugins for video and audio and configure them separately. And it's really unfriendly to newcomers because they don't know which one to get and they don't know how to configure it properly. And it can be a problem. But this new emulator just has settings the same that you would see on modern day emulators. Looks like this one was made with Android in mind, and indeed there is an Android port. I'm not sure which one is the main port, but you can see this very much looks like something that you would find on your phone. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the video, and we're rendering in Vulkan. I've tried Vulkan and I've tried OpenGL. I don't know which one is better because I have it capped at 60 frames per second, and they both do 60 frames per second just fine. So I think it would probably depend on your video card, right? But they both work fine for me. I'm using an RTX 2060, and it's the gigabyte version. And I like to do a video about that. I think I'd probably start a second channel for that. What I'd really like to do is do a second channel where I've got all this hardware that I use to play with emulators on. You know, like for example, when the NVIDIA Shield came out, I bought one and I put a bunch of emulators on it, and you know, I like to play around with it. And you know, me and Sebastian just upgraded our computers. Everybody else is upgrading to 3060, 3070, 3080. I like to be one step behind, and I don't like to get the best one. So when everybody's hollering 3090, 3080, I'll usually grab the 60 version because it does everything I want it to do. And usually those very, very high-end graphics cards, by the time you get to something that expensive, you're really straining the dollar per performance ratio, right? So I mean, there's probably an extra few frames in a higher version, but the 60 suited me just fine. So when the 2060 came out, I bought the 1060, and when the 3060 came out, I bought the 2060, which this time there was such a shortage that I had to buy it in a pre-built computer, but it is what it is. The NVIDIA Shield Portable, yeah, the Portable was cool, but I bought the little console one, and you guys may not know this, but so the way, this is too dark, you can barely see it. I've got it sitting here because I like to use it right here on this computer monitor. But the way this stuff works is that NVIDIA comes out with the Shield, and their real intention is not really to sell a lot of NVIDIA Shields. What they want to do is make it very popular with a very specific group of people, you know, and it's sort of like when NVIDIA makes a video card. They make their version of the video card and they release it, but their ultimate goal is to get other companies to pay to make one, right? So Gigabyte pays them. What's the brand on your video card, Sebastian? MSI pays them. Can't believe I couldn't remember MSI. And they make their own versions of it. And that was the same intention behind the NVIDIA Shield. And so the chip that's in the Shield is the same chip that eventually was put in the Nintendo Switch. And I think that is very interesting. So they never really got the NVIDIA Shield over on the public, but that also wasn't really what they were aiming for. And they scored big with that Nintendo contract to this day, making them those big bucks. Same thing with the video cards. You know, they'll make their stock video card as sort of an example to everybody else, and then people pay them a license fee to make them, and they sell chips and architecture and whatnot. I just find that very interesting. Let's see here. Where is the resolution? I was playing with that earlier. Is it under enhancements or... Yeah, internal resolution. So I'm going to jump this thing all the way up to 4K. Now, the window is not 4K. Obviously, this stream is scaled down to 1080p. I do have a 4K monitor here, and so if I take it full screen, it would be true 4K. But what we're going to do is just take a look at it rendering at 4K and check the performance. Did it not go back to 4K? Settings, enhancements, 4K. Let's not resume. Let's open it from the game list. Let's open anything from the game list. Why is it still in the middle? What am I missing? What am I missing? Let's see. Texture filtering, nearest neighbor. Widescreen hack, no. Let's see what's under video here. Last year, my nephew said he wanted a Switch for Christmas. I don't understand why, but I got him one. I went out to the tree in my yard and broke it off and wrapped it. Haha. Well, you gave him what he wanted, you know. Borderless full screen. 3D presentation. I will give you this tip. If you're ever messing with an emulator and you can't get a decent frame rate and it feels like slow, try turning off the VSync. Because what VSync does is it waits until it has the whole frame synced. And the reason why is because sometimes you'll see like a screen tear. If you've ever seen like a literal tear in the screen where it sort of shifts horizontally, that's what causes that. And VSync actually syncs up the frames so that you don't have that screen tearing, but it costs you a lot of performance. And so, but a lot of times I find that you can turn it off and you still don't see all that much tearing. And even if you do see a little bit, I mean, I'd rather have some screen tearing than play it at half speed, if that makes sense. So, if you're playing on lesser hardware, give that a try. Show frame rate, FPS. Wait. Show the internal frame rate of the game in the top right corner. Show the number of frames or VSyncs displayed per second. Okay. Speed, resolution. Alright, now, let's see what the resolution is, now that it's displayed. And I'm down to 5 viewers. I guess I should have just kept talking about how sick I am. Okay, so it is rendering at 2K. Why 2K? Should be 3 something for 4K. They love to round up, don't they? Did I pick the wrong one? Nope, 9X for 4K. Maybe that is their 4K. Let's change it and just see if it actually changes. Let's load anything. See, didn't change at all. I'm not sure what's up with that. I went through all of these settings before I started this because I know I wanted to show you guys this. And somehow, I broke it. Fantastic. Oh, hey, there it is. I went full screen and back and it changed. Now we're at 4K. So it's rendering at 4K, but I've got it squeezed down into, you know, the size of 480p. but the video card itself is still rendering a 4K frame, if that makes sense. So, what are we doing? 15 frames a second in this game? I was doing better than that a second ago, but we are streaming right now, so now we're up to 30. I think that game is 30 frames a second, actually. Yeah, 100%, so it's meant to do 30 frames per second. Let's try another. Let's see. Chrono Cross. Now, there's a problem with Chrono Cross that's pretty famous, actually. And the problem is that it changes resolution between the menu and the gameplay. And so, if you're playing on original hardware and you're running it into a scaler, like a frame master or an open source scan converter, it loses sync. So what'll happen is you'll go to pause the game, or you'll go into a battle or whatever it is, where it changes, and while it's syncing up, you'll be getting killed or whatever, right? And they literally call it the Chrono Cross problem, but it's a problem with several games on PlayStation and Nintendo 64, because that was the era where everybody was experimenting with resolution. And the cool thing about PC emulators is obviously they don't care. They'll take whatever it's rendering at, and they'll display it in whatever size is necessary, so it's not really a problem for, like, the PC version of DuckStation. Interestingly, the new scaler, the RetroTink 5X, basically fixes that problem. I'm not sure how, because I didn't buy one. The truth is that I had just bought the open source scan converter. And have you guys ever seen that episode of Futurama where the professor buys the 103-inch television and he turns it on, and the first thing he sees is an advertisement for the 104-inch television? Well, that's what happened. I spent like $150, more actually because of shipping and the remote. So just under $200 on the open source scan converter. And one of the differences between it and the RetroTink 5X is that it has to be each setting has to be painstakingly fixed one at a time. It has to be like adjusted manually. I won't get into all of that, but it does. Whereas the 5X will do it automatically. And they say that the 5X is, the quality is just slightly less. But I swear I can't see it. They look exactly the same to me. And so it was like I bought that, and then you get an email, and it's like, this was literally what the email said. And it was I subscribed to a YouTube channel called, what is it called? It's these guys that talk about video games on, they talk about playing video games on scalers and stuff. It's not Retro RGB, but it's, there's two of them. I'm just going to have to look it up, or it's going to bother me all day. I'm subscribed. You know something, and, just as soon as you want to tell it to somebody, all of a sudden everything goes blank all the time. That, am I the only one that has that problem? Or, no, obviously not, right? Can't be. Because I guarantee if I didn't need to tell you about this YouTube channel, I would definitely know the name, because I've watched every video they have. Let's see. I know that the name of the video was "The New Generation of Scalers is Here." So I just paid just under $200 for the OSSC. I just got it set up, and I get an email, and the subject of the email is "The New Generation of Scalers is Here," and it's about the Retro 5X. My life in gaming. Thank you, Sweaty Couch. Yes, that is exactly it. Nailed it. My life in gaming. New generation of scalers is here, and I felt like Professor Farnsworth throwing a brick through his 103-inch TV because the 104-inch TV just came out. So anyway, I haven't bought the RetroTink 5X. I think I will eventually. But damn it, I'm going to use this OSSC. Sweaty Couch says, hey, I'm not alone. I bought the OSSC, then bought and exchanged a few monitors to avoid a burn-in issue. Yeah, the OSSC has some issues.
Yeah. The Earth is 70% water and uncarbonated, so it's technically flat.
Okay. Sebastian's over here making dad jokes at me. Avoid the burn-in issue with OSSC Bob D interlace. Yeah, it does have a burn-in issue with Bob D interlace. Yeah, and a couple of months later, the RetroTink 5X was announced. Yeah, so you know my pain. And it also fixes the problem with the Chrono Cross problem, which is, I guess, what got me on this topic to begin with. I love this stupid stuff. But my favorite thing about emulators like DuckStation is this. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but when you play a PlayStation 1 game on a CRT, you don't notice it. But just as soon as you put it through an OSSC or a RetroTink, you notice that all of the surfaces sort of bob and weave. They, you know what, I can probably show you by turning off the setting. So, enhancements. If we go down here to geometry correction, reduces the wobbly polygons. Now, the polygons on PlayStation wobble, they always have. It's perfectly normal. The problem is that when it was 480p on a CRT, you couldn't really see it. But when you take that and blow it up to 1080p or 4K, boy, can you ever see it. Let me see if I can get it to do it. But these emulators allow you to fix that. And I love it for that, because otherwise I would not be able to stand playing some of these games at a high resolution, because, man, they bob and weave a lot. Did not mean to open that one. Like a lot. Just wobble their little hearts out. Chrono Cross is especially bad for it when it's let me see if I can do that thing where I make it big and small again. I know you guys can't see that I'm doing it, but I am. And see if I get out of battle and look at the character models. I'm not even sure if I turned off the right setting. I think I did. It said the wobbly, but it's not doing much wobble. Oh, yep. Okay, it's doing it. Do you see that wobble? This is the screen that's at a different resolution. It's not in this emulator, obviously, but on original hardware it would be. Come here, buddy. I need a close-up, so get out of this room. Now, notice that the background does not wobble. And the reason why is because in the early days of these games, and you see this in Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, and you see it in other games like Resident Evil, what they would do is they would use polygons for, like, characters and stuff. But the backgrounds are basically just PNG files. And that actually becomes a problem, because when you take the game and you scale it up, anything that comes from a PNG file, like this picture here, or the background, or, you know, the background that this text is on, that doesn't wobble at all because it's just one image. But the actual character models, you know, they wobble a lot. Let me see if I can reset the game, because at the beginning of it, boy, were they wobbling. I find this stuff endlessly fascinating. And I may not be very good at explaining it, especially on a live stream. But, I think maybe if I had, like, the time to really make a video, that I could do a better job at explaining it. I need to check and see if I've got any comments. It looked in a while. Oh, nope. Alrighty. Let's see. Brandon says, I recently found out that old school game sprites were designed specifically for CRT type screens because scanlines made them look 3D and shit. Yeah. And also, like, what would happen a lot of times is a console would show a pixel differently than what it looked like in the design. So let's say that you're doing like a picture of the moon. Well, what's going to happen when you load that into a CRT is the CRT is going to make the pixels just a little bit wider than they are tall. And so the pixels aren't square. And so you have to know about that ahead of time. And there's countless examples of developers either ignoring that fact or developers planning around that fact. And it's led to a million hilarious arguments between people, in the present day over whether games were meant to be viewed in 480p with a 4:3 ratio or 480p with a widescreen ratio. But I'll tell you this. None of that stuff was designed to be widescreen unless it was made in the age after widescreen monitors were invented, And just because you can take an old game and you can show that none of the circles are round because the monitors don't have square pixels, well, that just means that the developer either wasn't aware of the problem or didn't care, because there's other countless examples of developers that went out of their way to make their sprites too narrow so that they could be stretched back out on the display. So, yeah, endlessly fascinating. Let's see. Scale dithering. Making it. No, let's disable that. Disable true color rendering. Let's go back to OpenGL for a minute and see if that resets anything. Use software, no. No. Keep the game native aspect ratio. Don't bother dollar scan. Downsampling the rendered image prior to displaying it can improve overall image quality. No, we want to see what it actually looked like. So, integer upscaling, that's good, because we want it to be upscaled by integer. We don't want it stretched to fit. Don't care about screenshots. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, Brandon says, the developers behind Castlevania put a single red pixel in Alucard's eyes, and the screens stretched it out so that it looked like his entire eye was red. Yeah, and I think one of the Castlevania games was actually... No, I tell you what it was with the moon. It was Chrono Trigger. The moon in Chrono Trigger, if you play it on certain emulators, will look like it's too narrow. It's not round. But actually, if you play it on a CRT, it's round like it's supposed to be. And for some reason, Nintendo tended to ignore this a lot. And so there'll be Nintendo games where, like a coin or whatever, like on, I think it's Super Mario All-Stars, the coin at the beginning isn't round, It's round when you look at the asset, but when it's on a CRT screen, it's not. It's the wrong shape. And it's like, they had to know. It's their hardware. Somebody just didn't care. Sweaty Couch says, I wonder if kids today get the same kind of wonder from new games as we did from Witness going to 3D. I hope they do. I hope they do too. And I think they do. I think they do. I think they get wonder from other areas, right? We saw like 2D games and we were amazed as they became 3D and became more lifelike. And I think a lot of what amazes kids nowadays is about communication, right? It's like all of their games have become like online games where they can talk to each other and, you know, play out like role playing and stuff. Where, like, you know, if you think about it, we used to do role playing as a kid too. You just get a bunch of friends or cousins together, and, you know, the girls played house, and, well, hell, I played house with the girls, you know, or you played commando, or, you know,
Dad,
whatever.
Dad,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna get this out of the way.
Yeah, thank you, son. And so I think nowadays, it's amazing because they get to log on to like some massively multiplayer game on Roblox and pretend to be whatever, and they get the special effects that we had to imagine in our minds. So yeah, you know, I think they're amazed by some things, and there's going to be some stuff that they're going to look back on with a nostalgia that we'll never get to understand, and I think that's cool. I think that's really cool. All right. Lord, how do I reset this back to the beginning? Or get a close-up of these guys? Let's see. Oh, there they go. Oh, there they go, a-twitching. Oh, looks like wow, I broke the stream. That is not what I see on my screen. Looks like a pixelated mess. My favorite RPG was playing Doctor with the girls. Yeah, I bet it was. I bet it was. Okay, what did I do to break the game capture? There we go. Alright, see if we can get it. No, see? Wow, that is weird. Because when I put in the settings necessary for you guys to see the wobble, it looks like a bunch of green puke. Is that what it looks like to you? We'll see you later, Brandon. Don't work too hard, brother. Thanks for showing up. Alright, well, let's just move on. Trust me, the geometry wobbles and the emulators fix it. I promise. Let's move on to look at something a little more impressive. This is oh wow. Okay. Everything's gonna pop up big when I click it. Okay. All right. Now. If I'm going to talk about these things, I really should have them set up ahead of time. All right. Alright, video game capture. What's your problem? Capture specific window. God. OBS is really giving me a hard time, you guys. Try and make a new one. Remove that one. New game capture. Called game capture. Capture specific window. CMU. Did that work? No? What the heck? Is this thing messing with me? I have returned. Welcome back, my friend. Alright. I guess we are not going to, we're not going to get to use CMU. What the heck? Let's not do game capture. Let's do we have window capture, media source, video capture, window capture? Let's try that. Hey! Yahtzee. I did it, Mom. This is CMU. Ignore all the PlayStation branding. I guess I meant for it to take longer for me to talk about it. This is a Nintendo Wii emulator. Which you guys probably already knew that. But let's take a look at it. I'm not going to mess around much with the settings in this one because it is picky. So, this one doesn't use any plugins either. I mean, it does have one plugin, the CMU plugin, but that's just a guy that that improves the emulator with the approval of the author. So it's not like you have to pick a video and a audio, plugin. It sort of has its own settings. So I'm running this one in Vulkan. I used to run it in OpenGL because there was a time when it didn't have Vulkan. But Vulkan works pretty good. It's usually not quite this slow, but I'm streaming, so that takes a lot out of it. Which may be the reason why the last emulator croaked the way it did. Maybe some thing to do with OBS, because it looked good on my screen, which I might have tried window capture instead of game capture to get it to work. I was refreshing my own live stream to make sure that it was actually showing. After I show you guys this one, I'll probably get going, because I really just wanted to let you guys know where I'd been. But I figured there was no use in just telling you a bunch of sad shit and then turning everything off, so figured I'd show you some emulators. Back in the late 90s, I first got into emulation. I had a Windows 95 computer. It was made to run DOS, but had been upgraded by somebody that my dad knew. He bought it off of them for like nothing. The damn thing was slow as it could be. I mean, it wouldn't even play an MP3, right? Right at the height of Napster, I downloaded Napster and downloaded a song. And it would play 1 second and go out for 1 second, and play for 1 second and go out for 1 second. So, yeah. It was junk, but it would play NES games off of an emulator, and that was cool. And man, I went to downloading them, like, oh my god. And I know, a lot of people are like, oh, downloading ROMs is crime or whatever. But I didn't care, I was dirt poor, and I didn't have the money to buy all those games, and I wanted to try them all, and that's what I did. And so I really got into it. And then Nesticle came around, and NES emulation, and I got a slightly better computer, and the next thing you know, I'm posting news to Zophar's Domain. If you guys are into emulation, you might recognize that website. Or Emulator Zone is the one with the dash, emulator dash zone. I was a mod there until like, the early 2000s. So I loved the emulation scene. I never did, I'm no modern vintage gamer. I wasn't like porting them or writing them. But I was hanging out on forums and teaching people how to use them and answering questions and, just, doing forum admin stuff back when internet forums were the Facebook of the day. Got to do what you got to do when it comes to gaming. Yeah, absolutely. And at the time, like the big thing was the PlayStation 1, and we were buying new games. Christmas and birthdays and whatnot. So I was playing Final Fantasy 7. I loved Final Fantasy 7 so much. Still do, actually. It's an amazing example of how like I was telling you with Chrono Cross, like they take a picture of a place and they map out where you can walk and where you can't walk, and they give you a little stack of polygons that looks like a person, and give you control and tell you a story. And damn, that's fun, And like at the time when you're seeing it in 480p on a CRT, you didn't know that background was one giant image, It looked real to me, And there were other layers, like when you got into towns and stuff, but genuinely speaking, that's how they did it. Like, the backgrounds weren't made of polygons. It couldn't, actually it could, because Spyro would come along later and prove that it, in fact, could be done. Absolutely. But it was early on. They didn't know that. I have not got the controller program to work. I did not think about that. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, I've got a PS4 profile, I think. There we go. So, I do own this game for both Switch and Wii U. Yeah, I went and bought a Wii U while I was working to play and hack around on. I also bought a PlayStation 2, and people were like putting games on a hard drive and putting it in the PlayStation 2, and I found these other guys that were using a converter to make the PlayStation think that an SD card was a hard drive, and then using an extension cable to run that around the front. And that appealed to me because I thought, what would be really cool is if you could make an SD card that's got a certain type of games on it, right? Like, here's all the Final Fantasies on one SD card, here's all this or that, and you pop it in, because it's not like you don't just dump the game onto it. There's like a whole tool that you have to use. So it's a complicated mess, but once you get it done, it just works almost like you're putting in a game. Now, I want you to look at this. The thing about this right now is that it is running at 60 frames per second, which is faster than... I can't jump because I'm just realizing that my triangle button on this PS4 controller is broken, which sucks because I just bought this from GameStop like 6 months ago. And I can't even open my stupid what do you call it, glider. Wow. You know what? I don't dare try to switch controllers. I will break this whole stream. But no, the point is, this game runs better on this emulator than it does on any official version. It runs at a higher resolution. It runs with better graphics packs. It runs twice as many frames per second. It just runs better, and I think that's really cool. You can even install... They have these places where you install graphics packs. I'm going to turn this video off for a second so that I can spit some fluid up out of my lungs. I'm sorry, I know that's gross. I will make sure that it's muted while I do it. Sorry. I'm sick. See beginning of stream for more information. These guys took the best of that, and instead of just doing graphics packs, they added cheats and they added new dungeons. Like you can go get a graphics pack for that emulator for that specific game that will take one of the shrines on the map and swap it out for a new fan-made dungeon that you can run through right now. New Breath of the Wild content that you've never played before. That is amazing. That is amazing. And I don't see how it's going to stop Nintendo from selling Breath of the Wild. I really don't. And so, I'm a fan. Very much so. And I've played some of those extra dungeons, and I've installed some of those packs, and like, I'll give you another example, Amiibos. Impossible to find, impossible to pay for. But you can go on the internet, and you can download the chip on the Amiibo, a file of that, like they've dumped it, you know what I mean? They've dumped the RFID chip into a file. And you can just load that file in the emulator, and it will think that you scanned that RFID chip. So that's the only way that I got to play with, like, the Link Wolf, or have certain outfits or whatever. This content that they have tied behind this Toys to Life disaster made it so that out of the 3 copies of the game that I have, the one that has the most official content is the one emulated on my computer. And that's their bad. That's their problem. And so, I don't have any qualms about this stuff. I really don't. The video game industry has proven time and time again that you cannot trust them to back up their own stuff. You just really can't. Like, they're not going to save all of the NES ROMs, you know what I mean? They don't care. Nobody's going to preserve a bad game. You have to get somebody like me that's obsessed with collecting copies of them all. It just is what it is. And I think that they all need to be backed up to the internet. Now, I will say this. If a game is for sale, I try to buy it. Especially if it's a game that I've emulated. So, every time they put out Super Mario Brothers, I buy it again. Because, boy, have I emulated it a lot. Because I try to be fair, I discovered Mega Man through emulation when they released the new Mega Man collections. I bought them. Because fair is fair, But let's say that you wanted to play an NES game. Let's say that you wanted to play Little Samson, I might have to look up how to get that playing on Switch. You may have to look up how to get CMU working, because I can tell you the best place to do that. There's a YouTube channel called Blue Screen of Death, but it's just BSOD. And they do updates for the Yuzu emulator and CMU and some other modern emulators. And they tell you what the best settings are and, that sort of thing. How to set them up and all that good stuff. But let's say you wanted to play Little Samson. Little Samson is a good NES game that's rare and expensive and usually goes for, I don't know, so many $100s. I don't really remember the price, but it's way out there expensive. If you go to eBay and you buy that, let's say you find it for a steal. You find it for $100. And you think, oh my God, what a great deal. And you get it and it's a genuine copy. Do you think that the people that made that game are going to get any of that $100? Somebody is going to get that money. Somebody that went out to a yard sale somewhere and found some poor guy that didn't know what he had and lowballed him an offer, probably $5, or if it had a price on it, probably $1, and then took it to eBay and sold it for 10 times, 20 times, 100 times, 5,000 times the price. And I guess that's capitalism. I don't have to like it, but that's what it is.
Your capitalism?
But I'm not going to play that game. For one, I can't afford to play that game. Not even close, And for two, I just don't want to. So by all means, I believe that if you want to play Little Samson, that the smart thing to do is to go to a ROM site and download it and play it, and then scan your computer for viruses, because you're going to need to scan your computer for viruses. I don't run a virus scanner all the time because it slows the computer down, but you better believe I do it every now and then. Yeah, I don't care much for capitalism, I'll be honest with you. I'm not saying there's no place for capitalism in the world. I'm not saying that. Although I'm thinking it pretty loud. But I think that capitalism really needs to be kept in check. That regulation is not a bad thing. And that if you don't soften the edges of capitalism with like a robust welfare state and a retirement program for the elderly, then you're eventually going to have a huge problem on your hands. Because it is the nature of capitalism for people to want more, to do more, to earn more, to get the stock price up, to bring home the better paycheck, to have more than everybody else, to be the first man to build a dick-shaped rocket and land it on Mars. And I don't see anything in that design that's taking care of the people short of the welfare state.
Short of the dick-shaped rocket.
Which is very neglected. And don't get me wrong, it does exist, Let me tell you guys something. I spent the last couple of years working as a manager, an assistant manager, at a dollar store. I worked at 3 different stores. I made it as high as what they call a freight manager, which is basically second in command. I made $11.25 an hour, and I still qualified for both Medicaid and food stamps. That is the truth of life in America. I worked 40 hours a week, 39 hours and change, because I'm not allowed to have overtime. Every single week. I never missed a single day. I did arrange to have some days off moved a couple of times, but I never just didn't show up. I got every raise and every promotion that came along that, I applied for everyone and got everyone. And that's where I ended up. Any one of those 3 buildings is worth around $1.6 million. Now, the dollar store, the company, only owned 2 of them and rented the other one. But just the merchandise inside is worth a few $100,000. Often the truck that I was unloading was worth $50,000 on its own. So, I want you to think about this. If you had a $1.5 million facility, and you knew that it could easily be emptied of $100,000 in product, would you pay someone literal poverty wages to watch it for you? Because these companies think that it's a fantastic idea. Walmart has gotten in trouble in the past for taking food stamp applications and stacking them up in the break room for the employees to find. Because why pay for medical And why pay for extra money for these people to live on when you can get the government to give it to them? Well, I'm here to tell you, yeah, I worked that job. Um, and I would have much rather just had decent pay. Thank you very much. You know what I mean? So when somebody that works in a restaurant says, I need $15 an hour to live, they're not bullshitting you. They're not. I don't even have rent. You know what I mean? Like, my grandmother gave me a place. And it's still rough, to live on that much money. So anyway, I've gone off on a tear. I'm sorry. But my point is that if we're going to continue with capitalism, then we're going to have to think really hard about how we treat people. Because with automation, more and more of us are going to be in the same situation. It's going to get to the point to where you can't get a job making a cup of coffee because,
you don't have 14 years of experience.
Well, it's not the experience. It's that why hire 7 people to make cups of coffee when you can hire one person to run a robot that makes coffee? It's the reason why to this day at a dollar store there's 2 people when you walk in. One of those is the manager and one is the employee. And they try to keep it down to 2 everywhere they can. Only the busy stores in the busy cities get employees. When I say I was a manager, I usually managed one person at a time. Because that's just how it was, And they try to automate everything they can to keep from having to call anybody else in. And the problem's only going to grow. So, I'm just saying, we need to do something. So now that I've alienated half the stream, we're down to 5 people from 10. So that's about right. 50%. That makes sense. I am going to take a break. How long have we been going here? About an hour and 30 minutes. I'm going to keep going maybe into the 2-hour mark, and I'm just going to be totally honest here. I'm going to have to mute the mic and put up the image cover and go cough up some fluid out of my lungs. I know it's gross, but it is what it is. But I shall return. Thank you. Alright, sorry guys. I usually only have to do that every 3 or 4 hours. But since the last 2 or 3 hours I've been preparing for this stream, I've sort of been half-assing it, you know? Oh, so it really sucks, I'll tell you that. But it is what it is. Doctor appointment Monday. We'll take care of it, you know. It is what it is. But I don't know if you guys know how much I appreciate you. Like, I really truly do. And you know, I really miss you guys. I wasn't really able to do this whole thing tonight, but I've been wanting to do it for so long that, you know, I just kind of had to. So, and I'm glad I did, you know. I really am. So, I want to thank you guys for coming. It's amazing to me that I could pull 10 or 12 people after disappearing off the face of the earth for so long. That's really cool. Really cool. I was gonna hang on for a while, maybe play another game. But I'm thinking that I need to rest. So, thank you. I missed you guys too. I really appreciate it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drop off tonight. But hopefully I'll try to do another one tomorrow, and we can make it like a gaming live stream, and I'll be more prepared for that. Because there's some things about these emulators that I really want to show you guys, but it's going to require more planning ahead. You know, so just saying, oh, this is the Where Have I Been stream, and then jumping straight into the emulators without any preparation is, you know, well, it's obviously not a good idea. So, maybe I can do a little pre-planning, and we can look at maybe Yuzu. It's a Switch emulator. And I can show you guys modern games that are on the shelf today, running on an emulator. Of course, no games that I don't legally own. I, of course, dumped every single one of them myself with my own 2 hands. Obviously, right? So, let me see. I'm going to turn the video back on so I can wave bye to you guys like the Beverly Hillbillies. I have no idea what I'm doing. Which of these stupid things turns off? Thank you. I do need some rest. So this whole corner where I usually do live streams was stacked full of boxes. That's and I had to clean out a space. The reason why the lights been out the whole time is because Sebastian was taking a nap close by next door, and I really didn't want to disturb him. But I'm glad that it is, so that you guys can't see the mess behind me. There's like a treadmill stacked with boxes. My PS5 box back there somewhere. The Nvidia Shield. I mean, just all kinds of boxes. But we'll get back to it. We'll set up some better stuff. I want to thank you guys all for coming, and I am glad to be back out and about. I will give you guys, I will try to stream again tomorrow. No promises, but I'll try my best to do some gaming streaming tomorrow. And Monday evening, I will update you guys, even if it's just a tweet on Twitter, to let you know that I'm okay. And, you know, we'll take it one day at a time, and we will rebrand and rebuild our YouTube channel. And we will talk about comic books, and we will talk about video games, and we will talk about philosophy concepts that we are in absolutely no way qualified to discuss, just because we can, and it will be fun. You guys have a great night, and we'll see you next time. Be kind to each other.